Morning guys. I thought I'd just do a quick video in relation to the post that I put out on Facebook yesterday about that guy I saw in the gym who basically had no structure to a workout and was just walking around aimlessly, just basically doing a few reps on any piece of equipment that he came across. So if you haven't seen that post, I was training yesterday and I was just looking around as you do, and I saw a guy who was, for example, he'd go around and he'd do a few bicep curls, like 10 reps maybe, head over to like the dip machine, do a few dips, then he'd do a couple of squats, work a bit of his abs. You know, there was no structure to the workout at all. I was just doing a bit of everything. And I put a post out yesterday, just basically with a picture of a pen, just saying that's your best friend when it comes to organising and putting a solid structure to your workout, as well as logging all weights that you actually use as well, because a lot of people don't do that, and it's good to just write down the weights that you use, and then you see a steady progression. You know what weights you used last time, you know where to start on the next workout, and so on. So I was just trying to stress the importance of just getting into the habit of writing down workouts. Doesn't matter what weight you're at or what workout routine you're doing, just make a log of it, and then you've got it there to look back over and just make sure that you're making steady progression. But anyway, the meaning of this video was to just basically explain where I was coming from yesterday with that post. So this guy yesterday, I noticed that he did a bit of triceps, and then he moved on to the bench and did a few reps on the bench. So let's take the bench press for example. The bench press is one of those big compound movements. You need a lot of energy for it. It works numerous muscles. You've got the chest, obviously, the triceps, the anterior delts. So you need to put the maximum amount of effort into those lifts, because they're your big movements, big range of movements. So you need all the muscles recruited and firing for these movements. Every workout routine should be based around your deadlifts, your squats, your bench press, your overhead press, those large compound movements. So with this guy working his triceps first and then moving on to the bench press, he wouldn't have been firing to his maximum on the bench, because what he's done is fatigued his triceps first, and then he's moved on to the bench press. So his bench press wouldn't have been at the level that he wanted it to have been at, basically just because his triceps would have been slightly fatigued because he's done a few push downs already. So what I wanted to get across is that when you head into the gym, try and structure your large compound movements first. Basic rule of thumb, what I usually do, people feel free to correct me if they're wrong, but when going into the gym planning a workout, I'd start with my explosive movements first. So if I did I used to do a lot of box jumps. I don't really do a lot of them now, but I used to do a lot of plyometrics, box jumps, squat jumps, broad jumps, all your plyometric stuff first, your Olympic lifts, all those kind of movements which require explosive movement in a short amount of time. Basically, because you need the central nervous system firing, you need maximum effort, you need the energy, you need a lot of focus as well. So you don't want to fatigue your mind as well. Do you know what I mean? You want to be fully focused for these movements. So start with explosive movements, then you'd move on to your large compound movements. So your deadlifts, squats, bench press, overhead press. I tend to do, you've probably seen a few videos, but I don't do a lot of reps on these movements. Deadlifts I usually go like 5 sets of 5, working down like I do a lot of 1 rep maxing, or like 2 rep max, 3 rep max. So again, you need a lot of energy, and because they're multi-joint movements, which are usually, I mean, they should be your heaviest lifts. Deadlift should be your heaviest lift in the gym, really. You need maximum force, maximum amount of energy. You need to be fully focused. So do them after your explosive movements. Then you move on to the large. I would move on to my large isolation exercises. So like my dumbbell press or incline press for chest. Do some single arm rows, chest supported rows, those kind of movements. If you was on leg day, I'd move on to, once I've done my squats, stiff leg deadlifts, then I move on to my walking lunges, split squats, just those kind of movements, just which are more isolation. But I tend to not lift as heavy as I would with my main lifts. So for example, on leg day, I do my squats, but I wouldn't go as heavy for, say, walking lunges. I'd use that more as like a bodybuilding type exercise, just to get my endurance high, just to get a sweat on and get a burn in the quads and the glutes and the hammies. So you move on to them next. Then I'd advise to then do some isolation work for the smaller muscle groups. So you do your shoulders, for example, like front lateral raises, cable rear raises, biceps if you wanted to treat yourself to a bicep workout. So you do your bicep curls, your push downs, your dumbbell rolling extensions, basically all those kind of movements, just to fatigue the muscles that have assisted the larger ones in the bigger movements. And then I'd finish off with core. So I'll do my cable wood chocks, planks, Russian twists, all my core movements then. I'd always advise to work the core last, because you need a strong core in all movements, really. The last thing you want to do, I've seen guys do this as well. They've gone in and they've headed straight into the ab crunches, and then moved on to, like, say, deadlifts or squats or something. You need your core firing just to keep you nice and strong throughout the large compound movements from the off, especially if you're doing Olympic lifts and stuff like that. Last thing you want to do is be going in, like, fatiguing your abs, fatiguing the core, the lower back, and then moving on to, say, deadlifts. It just wouldn't work. So you do the core movements last. So basically, how I would structure workouts, this is how I do with clients, and I'd advise everyone to do it, because it just works well. And it's one of those where you see so many people just almost doing it backwards, going in, starting with core, doing the triceps, moving on to chest or deadlifts and stuff like that, and you're just fatiguing yourself early on, and it's probably holding you back from getting the results that you need. So start off with it, obviously a warm-up. I always foam roll, nice dynamic warm-up, static stretching first if you feel you need to. If you feel tightness, static stretch. A lot of people say don't, but it helps me out loads. So foam roll, static stretch, if needed, dynamic warm-up, just to get the joints lubricated, get the blood flowing. Explosive movements, Olympic lifts, all your jumping, box jumps, broad jumps, sprints, all that kind of stuff. Do that first. Move on to your large compound movements, deadlifts, squats, bench press, overhead press, bent over rows, all those kind of exercises. Move on to the isolation work of the big muscle groups. chest, back. We're doing legs, quads, hamstrings, that kind of stuff. Move on to the triceps, biceps, maybe any accessory shoulder work that you want to do, front lat, rear raises, cable raises, those kind of things. Then your core last, planks, so you can do weighted planks, twists, dips, those kind of things, hanging leg raises. But yeah, I thought I'd just clarify that because there's so many people in the gym, and I always, it's always tempting to go over and just like have a word, but you just end up, it's hard to explain without coming across like, you know, patronising. So it's just one of those. If it crops up in conversation, I always just try and offer my advice. But yeah, give it a go, guys. Especially when you're structuring a workout for yourself, just make sure you're doing it right. It's common sense, really. Large compound movements first, maximum amount of energy, get those out of the way, then work down to the smaller muscle groups and then core. Guarantee that you'll get good results from that, and you will see your personal bests increase rapidly on your large movements when you're doing them first in the workout. But yeah, any problems, give me a shout. Nice one, guys. Take it easy.